hairdresser working on a teenager's hair gets the shock of her life. She's already been chopping and styling hair for 4 years. She thought she'd seen everything her field has to offer until she met her. She smiled as she greeted her into the salon, seeing another disaster of hair waiting for her to tame. But as she began to listen to her incident, she realized she had bit off more than she could chew. Maria began to work as a hairdresser before she graduated from school. She always had the ability to make people happy with her appearance, and hairdressing allowed her to do just that. In her senior year, Maria began working at her aunt's salon to support her income. She realized she desired to pursue hairdressing when it came to studying in college. Maria seemed to have no clue how much it would change her life. Maria gained work in her city as a hairdresser 2 years later. Her aim was to create her own shop so she could learn everything there was to know about hairdressing. She worked for 4 years, gaining experience about the ups and downs of her job. She was certain she'd seen everything until that dreadful Saturday morning. Maria and her co-workers had a full day on Saturday. The shop was full, with each stylist scheduled for the entire weekend. However, when Maria was concluding a regular client, she observed a teenage girl peeping through the windows. She didn't mind because many people were looking in to observe what was going on inside. But what she then did caused Maria to put down her comb. She entered the store wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. She scanned the crowd with her blue eyes, her hood covering her hair and her palms fumbling. Maria could sense her anxiety. She put her clippers down and smiled. However, the girl abruptly turned around to rush outside. Maria apologized to the customer before weaving past the crowded salon and out to the street. The girl was just going around the corner until Maria asked her to stop. The girl came to a halt and turned. Her eyes were filled with anxiety and her lips shook. She turned away from the person who was genuinely concerned. Maria wondered if the poor girl was fine. When Maria asked her what her name was, the girl mumbled it. Maria then introduced herself to try to console her and asked her if she wanted to come to the salon. Maria reassured her by telling her further that the salon offers milkshakes. The girl was convinced and entered the store. But Maria could sense she was very nervous. She guided the girl through the maze of stylists and clients. Maria realized why she'd fled as the girl removed her hood. As Maria looked at her hair, the girl wished she could take it all off. It was matted and tangled with thick gobs that hadn't seen a comb in ages. Maria questioned why she might want to chop it all off, knowing she'd have to free her day's schedule. "Because it's worthless. I'm worthless," the girl explained. She begged Maria to cut it off as her eyes welled up with tears. Maria calmly advised her to take it slowly and that they begin by combing her hair and working their way through the motions. She smiled sweetly and said that clippers would only be used as a final option. The girl looked puzzled and nodded. "Why do you care?" she questioned. What she uttered next shattered Maria's heart. "Nobody cares," the girl explained. She told Maria about her life, including how her mother died a while ago. She'd been breaking apart ever since, sinking in the shadows that seemed to be all around her. She felt so low, unloved, and useless at times that she couldn't even comb her hair. However, why would she need to cut it? She needed a fresh picture for the semester because school was starting soon, and she couldn't handle the torture of completely fixing her hair. Maria was shattered to hear her story. She managed to assign her coworkers to her clients throughout the coming days. She worked extensively throughout sessions of cleaning and combing while accompanying the girl all day. Can she prevent the poor girl from getting rid of her hair completely? Maria swung her around to make the girl face her reflection by the end. They'd transform what had previously been a knot of sticky curls towards something manageable, with clumps of entangled hair yet present. A smile appeared on the teenage girl, the first of the day, but the hairdresser was well aware about the pending work to be done. She returned to the girl's smile and asked if she may return the next day. Maria typically never commenced the salon during Sundays, but that day was an exception. She wasn't sure if the girl would show up, but as she pulled the door wide, she caught a glimpse of her. "Come in," she exclaimed as she led the girl inside the store. The girl was better dressed than previously. Her hoodie and sweatpants had been replaced by a flowering dress, and her hair was liberated. Did she appear to be happier? Maria was going to find out. Maria resumed where she had left off with the hair. She inquired about the length she was satisfied with and what style she favored. Maria thought the young girl was exciting and beautiful to chat to. Despite her reluctance to speak at times, they both talked for hours. Maria believed she was wonderful and was loving the work, but she detected a problem. While the large blobs of matted areas of her hair had been repaired, there was yet a huge amount of damage near her scalp. Maria paused, unsure how to proceed. They had made huge progress that the hairdresser was concerned about mentioning to her, as the girl may relapse into her melancholy and despair. Instead, she devised a strategy. Maria understood she needed to borrow time to think of a better option. She might become suspicious if she stared at the girl's scalp for long without doing anything. Maria's thoughts raced as she tried to ponder every possible method to prolong the scenario until she could figure out the next step. Her concern was that if she cannot find a good solution, she'd have to resort to chopping her hair off after all. Maria was accomplished in her industry because she was skilled. However, Maria's customers realized she provided another invaluable service. Almost all the time, Maria felt comfortable with her elder clients, and her additional services flowed effortlessly. However, the girl's troubles and her heavy burden made navigating the scenario difficult. Maria believed that if she could find some commonality between them, the girl would begin to open up more. Maria desperately wished to make things better for her. Maria realized she'd have to pursue with caution because she'd previously proven to be quite easily afraid. She paused for a moment and started asking her questions just to see how things went. Maria was eager to find out more about the young girl. She clearly had a lot of burden, especially for someone her age. Maria was saddened to learn what she was going through. It was a lot for anybody in her position to bear. Maria, on the other hand, had a personal motivation for wanting to assist her. The story of Maria. Life had also not been easy for Maria. She had learned the hard way. She'd grown up requiring her mom to pay bills for the family, including 3 siblings because they had little money. It was a difficult decision to drop out of school at such an early age. Maria had had aspirations and ambitions, but she was forced to set them aside for the sake of her family. That's the time when things grew even more difficult. Maria's mother had a difficult life. She had challenges throughout her young life. Maria's dad left the family when she was 22 years old. Her mother was forced to keep the children surviving by working 3 jobs at a time. The family's life turned the corner when tragedy knocked on their door. Maria was 17 years old when her mom became ill. The most traumatic thing Maria had ever gone through was losing her mom to an illness at an early age. Even though several years had passed, she felt sorrow on a regular basis. Maria saw why she was so fond and had an affinity for the girl. She realized she needed to help her as Maria glanced at her hair's damaged roots. Maria's strategy shifted at that point. Rather than urging the young girl to speak up and risk making her uncomfortable, Maria chose to speak about her own background. While she was preoccupied with Maria's own difficult upbringing, Maria used the time to work out a cure for her hair. As she continued to speak, an idea occurred to her. Maria realized the last strands of disheveled hair were too little and fragile to pull out without injuring the girl. However, if left alone, they may sprout out and entangle her hair again. Maria recognized that if she put a relaxer product to specific areas softly, it would detangle the hair, although it wouldn't be as straightforward as it sounds. Maria was well aware that relaxers contained toxic materials. She'd have to be extra cautious as they weren't supposed to be put straight away to the scalp because they could damage it. She assembled her instruments, mixed remedies, and began gently applying them to the damaged spots. It was surely a tense scenario. Maria managed to keep the girl talking while carrying out her strategy with the precision of someone as meticulous as a surgeon. Maria was skilled enough that she could apply the product without leaving any on the scalp. She waited with eager anticipation, allowing it to settle. Finally, she watched it start to work. She smiled as she drew the young girl toward her to tell her the news. The relaxer worked perfectly and automatically unmatted the areas of her hair that had been difficult to unmat by hand. Considering the condition of her hair before she initially arrived, it had been entirely altered from its roots to its tips. Maria revealed the news to her. The young girl's eyes welled up and she began to cry unexpectedly. Maria anticipated her to be over the moon but had no clue what was wrong. When the girl settled down and explained, they were happy tears as the girl conveyed her gratitude. To her, nobody had shown her such generosity before. An overjoyed Maria completed the marathon task. What remained was for her hair to be gorgeous and easy to manage once more. When she was done, the girl gasped in surprise. Maria gave her a mirror. She chopped the girl's hair above her shoulders and added some sandy brown to complement the girl's golden bronze tone. The girl brushed her hair, sifting through the delicate curls. Her eyes welled with tears. "I'll now smile for the school's pictures," Maria told the girl. The girl went on to praise Maria and mentioned that she helped her feel like herself once more. Ultimately, Maria restored the poor girl's hair and gave her a free makeover. She was certainly the queen of picture day, brimming with increased confidence. They eventually turned great friends after knowing Maria's childhood story. Maria approached the manager, and the manager agreed to allow the girl to assist as an associate stylist at the shop after school. The girl suffered in life, but the makeover gave her fresh hair and renewed optimism that she might change her life.